Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another Drops episode, this one for week 15 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we get started guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to jump right into the content and let's start with some forwards that you can consider dropping. And first on the list at 76% rostered is Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars. Now he's playing on a third line right now in Dallas with Wyatt Johnston and Evgeny Dadonov. That line is not doing a whole lot of anything right now. And even if he does get a point every 3 games or so like he's been doing, he definitely does not deserve to be rostered in 76% of leagues. Last year he had an amazing bounce back year, but unfortunately this year his deployment just isn't good enough to make him continuously be a good fantasy player. Obviously if you're in a super deep league, you're going to hang on to Jamie Benn. But if you are in a shallower league, and there are a lot of you holding Jamie Benn in shallower league because he's 76% rostered, you can definitely let him go. Now, I understand the ad of Jamie Benn for last week because he did have a pretty good schedule with those off nights for Dallas, but now it's time to drop him. Then Pierre-Luc Dubois of the Los Angeles Kings still isn't doing a whole lot of anything in LA and is still the third line center over there with not really the greatest line mates. Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois, in my opinion, is an absolute bust this year. He is kind of a must-drop at this point, guys. I don't see him turning things around a whole lot. And unfortunately, for those of you guys that drafted him relatively early, he's a bust, and you would just drop him at this point, okay? Then we got Ivan Barbashev, Barbie, as I like to call him, and it's kind of crazy how bad he's doing right now, playing on the top line with Jack Eichel. And you'd think that he'd be producing a lot more, but he's doing a whole lot of nothing, not putting up any kinds of points in the last few games, not putting up really any peripherals at all. It's definitely rough holding Ivan Barbashev right now. If you're in an absurdly deep league, you kind of have to hold on to him and hope for the best because he's the kind of guy who will go super cold for a bunch of games and then will go super hot for a whole bunch of games as well. So it's only a matter of time before he bounces back. But if you are in a shallower league and there's someone out there that's kind of piquing your interest, you definitely should be dropping Ivan Barbashev. However, you can hold him if you want to wait for that breakout because it will happen at some point. He's going to become hot again. Wyatt Johnston, the same kind of thing as Jamie Benn, playing on that third line in Dallas, and right now they're not really producing. And with Dallas no longer having a great schedule this week, he's definitely droppable. And finally, Chandler Stevenson is also doing a whole lot of nothing, which is really surprising because he's a great player and definitely can get hot at any time. But as of right now, even though he's playing top power play and second line with Jonathan Marchessault, he's not producing. He hasn't in a while, and he's locked in as a natural center, which doesn't help his value either. Right now, Chandler Stevenson is a drop. However, if you start seeing that he puts up some points in the near future, he's going to be someone that you're going to want to add because the dude can be really good when he's hot. Jumping into defensemen now, and first on this list, I have Brady Shea at 72% rostered, and he's definitely not a must-drop. He's exceeded my expectations and a lot of people's expectations this year. Now, Brady Shea doesn't really get a whole lot of power play time, definitely doesn't get power play 1 time, sometimes get power play 2 time, and his peripherals are decent enough that he should be rostered in deeper leagues. In shallower leagues, though, I'm sure there are better defensemen out there. If not, hold on to him. If there's somebody out there that's a better defenseman or even a better forward, if you've already got 4 defensemen, there's not really a good reason to hold on to Brady Shea in those shallower leagues. But again, I don't mind if you hold them, but also definitely not a terrible player to be dropping if someone out there is kind of piquing your interest right now. Travis Sanheim's another guy who's hot and cold, and right now he's ice cold. He's no longer getting top power play time in Philadelphia. He hasn't for a little while now. So Sanheim, unfortunately, his role has kind of been reduced a little bit, and that's why he's a drop for me right now. Obviously, if he goes hot again at some point, you can add him back, but right now, he's hurting your team to have him. Jacob Slavin's doing a whole lot of nothing right now, too, and honestly, it surprises me that he's done as well as he has this year. He's not really an offensively geared defenseman. Puts up some decent peripherals, which is nice, but nothing too good that really you want him on your team just for those peripherals. You want points from him as well, and he was actually putting out some points earlier in the year, but right now he's not really doing that, so he's droppable as well. And then Eric Gustafson of the New York Rangers. I don't know why 18% of you are still hanging on to this guy. As long as Adam Fox is healthy, Eric Gustafson is completely valueless. And then finally, Ivan Provorov of the Columbus Blue Jackets, 18% rostered, and he's currently no longer even on PP1. Even with Werenski injured, he's not top power play. That really hurts his value a lot. They've actually given that top power play to Adam Boquist now, and even if he does get top power play, he wasn't doing a whole lot with it, guys, and the peripherals are not really good enough to merit hanging on to in pretty much any league. Jumping into goalies, and Jonathan Quick is the first one I have on this list, and he's not a must drop. If you're in like a super incredibly deep league where like there's goalies are really a premium, you can hang on to Quick, but he only starts at 1 out of every like 3 or 4 games, which is not great at all in my opinion. And honestly, his last 3 starts, he hasn't performed particularly well either. So I'm not super high on Quick, and obviously Shesterkin's the guy in New York, and he's going to continue to get the vast majority of the starts. Then I have Scott Wedgwood with Ottinger's return kind of looming. Wedgwood is going to become a drop. As soon as Ottinger comes back, he's going to get the vast majority of the starts, and Wedgwood is going to go back to the waiver wire. Elvis Merzlikins is someone that I'm not really a big fan of right now. They've given the last 4 starts to Daniil Tarasov. And even though Tarasov didn't play well in his last start, which probably means Elvis Merzlikins starts the next game, Columbus only has 2 games this week. So Merzlikins, if he plays well, maybe he'll get them both. But if he plays poorly that first start, he's probably only going to get 1 game this week. Not super high on Merzlikins right now because they do like Tarasov a lot, and they're playing him. Akira Schmid's the next guy I would drop. Why is he still 16% rostered? He's in the AHL. You have an NA spot that you're not using for whatever reason. I guess you can hang on to him, but I'm not really anticipating him getting called up again this year. Easy drop there. And then Jesper Wallstedt. So many people added him because obviously he is Minnesota's goalie of the future, which is great. He led in 7 goals against the Dallas Stars in his first NHL start. He's not there just yet, and Fleury's going to continue to get the starts until Gustafson's ready to return, and that should actually be pretty soon. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.